Let me ask you a question. Not one you have heard in a motivational video, not one your teacher asked, not one your parents ever asked. A different question, one that might make you uncomfortable. Have you ever noticed that life has a strange habit of repeating itself? Maybe the faces change, the jobs change, the city changes, the bank account changes. Yet somehow the lesson does not. Different relationship, same heartbreak. Different boss, same frustration. Different opportunity, same fear. Different year, same version of you. And after enough years, you begin asking yourself something. Why does this keep happening to me? We all ask this question at one point. Why does this keep happening to me? It's one of the oldest questions humanity has ever asked. Imagine, some blame luck, some blame society, some blame childhood, some blame other people, some even blame God, some even blame Allah. But what if we have been asking the wrong question this whole time? Have you ever thought of that? What if the real question is not, why is this happening to me? But, what is life trying to show me? Imagine standing in front of a mirror. You look tired. You don't like what you see. So, you start cleaning the mirror. You polish it, you replace the frame, you move it into a better lighting. Maybe you even buy another mirror. Yet nothing changes. Because the problem was never the mirror. The mirror was simply reflecting what was already standing in front of it. We all know how mirror works. That idea sounds obvious until you realize we spend our entire lives doing exactly that. We change jobs instead of changing ourselves. We change partners instead of changing our patterns. We change cities instead of changing our character. We change gyms instead of changing our discipline. We change business strategies instead of changing our mindset. We keep trying to fix reflections while ignoring the source. Recently, I read a book that stopped me in my tracks. It's called The Mirror, written by my brother Mohammed Al-Ubaidy. And before we go any further, I want to make something very clear. This episode is not a replacement for the book. The author himself explains that what he shares is his personal contemplation of the Quran rather than a formal scholarly commentary. And he encourages readers to engage directly with the Quran and think deeply for themselves. So, what I'm sharing today is a journey inspired by the book, mixed with my own reflections, where I'll make that distinction clear. Because some books you read, others read you. This one felt like it was reading me. One idea hit me harder than anything else. It wasn't complicated, it wasn't philosophical, it was painfully simple. Maybe my life wasn't attacking me, maybe it was reflecting me. Think about that. If you smile into a mirror, the mirror smiles back. If you frown, it frowns. If you stand confidently, confidence is reflected. The mirror never argues. It never judges. It never decides. it simply reflects. So, what if life operates the same way? Not because the universe is magical, not because everything is manifestation, but because the condition of our inner world influences how we perceive, respond to, and shape the world around us. The book repeatedly builds around the Quranic principle that meaningful outward changes begins with inward changes, centering on the verse that Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. The author presents this as a foundational principle for understanding the relationship between the inner and outer life. Now, let me ask you something. The question you always ask to yourself, or maybe not: who are you? No, seriously, who are you? Remember, not your passport. I'm not asking your nationality, not your business, not your Instagram bio, not your achievements, not your failures, not your body, not even your name. Who are you? Because here's something strange. When someone loses their business, they often say, I have lost myself. When someone gets divorced, I don't know who I am anymore. When an athlete suffers a career ending injury, they feel like life is over. Why? Because somewhere along the journey, we stopped having an identity and started borrowing one. We became our income, our physique, our followers, our reputation, our drama, our success, our failure, until one day life removes one of those things and suddenly we panic. Not because we lost something, but because we confused it for ourselves. One reflection from the book that really made me pause in the is that distinction between the player and the character. Now pay attention. This is very amazing reflection. The author uses the analogy of a video game. The character experiences wins, losses, fear, and setbacks, while the player is the one holding the controller. He connects this to Quranic concepts of the nafs and the ruh. People who do not know ruh is soul, inviting readers to ask whether they have mistaken their character for their deepest identity. Now, when I read that, I immediately thought about fighting. Like every fighter knows, you are not your last fight. Lose one fight and you are still a fighter. Win one fight and you're still just a man. Championship belts don't create characters, they reveal it. The same applies outside the cage: business, marriages, fatherhood, leadership. These roles matter, but they are still roles. The danger begins when the role becomes the identity, because every role can be taken away. But who you truly are should never depend on what can disappear. Listen to this again. Who you truly are should never depend on what can disappear. So maybe the biggest fight of your life is not against another person. Maybe it's against the false identity you have been carrying for years. Because before you can change your life, you have to discover who is actually living it. I'm gonna leave you with that question in mind. Ponder on it. and I'll see you in next episode with second part of this same series. Take care.